Hello crafty family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY projects, I've selected 10 of my favorite Christmas DIYs to inspire you and give you all a jump start on Christmas crafts. Now I'll be using these Dollar Tree and some $1 items to create these today. Now before we start, I've got to say hey to all of my amazing subscribers and visitors, and be sure to click that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. So let's jump in and get started. Project is a pair of framed deer decor pieces. Now I'm going to need 2 of these triangle frames from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to need a pack of these cobblestone winter trees from the Dollar Tree and one of these 2 packs of deer ornaments from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to grab our triangular frames first, and I wanted to paint everything that's a wood trim with white, and I'm going to be using some acrylic white paint. You can definitely use chalk paint too if you like. So I'm just starting on the inside, and you don't have to be perfect here. You can get it on that printed part because we're going to be covering that up in the end. So once you do the inside, you want to do the outside and the trim, and here is what one looks like. Paint the other one and let them both sit to dry. Now that they're both dry, we can go ahead and start finishing on the inside of our project. So go ahead and grab that fabric that you just used, or any fabric of your choice, and I want to line the inside. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to lay my triangular piece down on the piece of fabric, making sure it's lined up with the pattern that you're using, and I traced it out with a white marker, and I'm going to trim it out. Now the outside dimension is larger than the inside, so we're going to have a little lip of fabric on the inside, and this is just how I wanted it, so I can trim it down to size once I put it inside. Now you could adhere it with some Mod Podge on the inside, but I decided to do hot glue, and when I do it, I just go ahead and adhere the center of the fabric first, and I'm going to start smoothing it out towards the ends. So I'm just going to go along the inside edge with that hot glue and then smooth that fabric into those corners and edges. Now once those edges are nice and bonded, we need to trim off all that excess. So I like to use my utility blade and make sure there is a new blade on there, and just run it right along the inside along that seam, and I find that it is removed so super easy with a sharp blade. You want to do this all the way around the inside and repeat for your second triangle. So now is the fun part. It's time to decorate and embellish these. So I'm going to be using one of these 2 packs of deer from the Dollar Tree, and from this cobblestone tree package, I'm using the 2 smaller trees. So you want to decide how you want to display your deer in here. I'm just going to put one on each side, and I kind of wanted them to be facing opposite of each other. So I want a tree and a deer, and I'm just flipping and flopping and trying to figure out how I want them, but you just go with the design that you love most. Now what I did decide to do, the bottom stand of the tree was making it too tall for that corner, so I'm going to trim off the stands at the bottom of my trees, and that way everything will fit in there nice and snug, not looking too overcrowded. So now we're going to go ahead and adhere everything. I'm just putting some hot glue behind the body of the deer and nestling it into that corner. I'm going to do that for both of the deer. And then I'm going to take the little trees and add them next to it, adding some hot glue to the bottom. Now be careful, some of these trees melt pretty quickly with high temperature hot glue, so you do want to work quickly when adhering these to your project. Now here are my 2 little deer with the trees, but I felt like it was missing something at the top. So I grabbed another 2 pack of ornaments that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. These are little stars, and I thought that they would be perfect to accent the top of these triangles. So I'm just adding a generous amount of hot glue to that top peak, and then adding that little star ornament to the top of the tree triangle design, and this is what they'll look like. Just go ahead and add it to the other one, and now you have a 2-piece set completed for your project. And check it out, you guys. Here are my set of deer frames on display. Now I just have to mention, I love the fabric assortment at the Dollar Tree, and I was so happy to find this plaid to use in this project. Now these little deer ornaments and the stars are so cute in this project, and it makes a beautiful accent to all of your decor. Now, I really do hope that you give this easy project a try too. Now, this project is a set of holiday display containers. Now, we're going to need 4 empty and clean vegetable tin cans. So we're going to take those cans, I'm going to take them out and give them a couple coats of some primer spray. You could use chalk or acrylic paint as well. So once they've sat out to dry, here they are, and now we can start embellishing them. So what I did is take some of that leftover fabric I had, cut it into small pieces to make a long strip, and then grab some of this burlap wide ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to take that stripped and glued together piece of fabric strip that I have here, and I'm going to start by gluing it along the bottom edge of the can. Now this strip I cut about 3/4 of an inch wide, and I just glued the pieces all together since we used a significant amount of this fabric in previous projects, but it did work out seamlessly for this project. So I'm going to trim out the bottom of each can with a piece of that strip, and then once that's done, we're going to take that wide burlap ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and we're going to trim right above that. So you want to make sure that it overlaps at least by an inch, because we will be trimming one of these edges down by folding it down and then running a bead of hot glue along to just make a nice, crisp, flawless seam so you don't have any fraying. So once that seam is glued, just go ahead and wrap it back around the can, making sure the seams are lining up on the back. And then once you get it nice and snug around the body of the can, just go ahead and add a bead of hot glue and secure that edge to the other part of that burlap ribbon. And here is what it looks like. Now you just have to do this for all of your other cans, and now they are ready to go. So now you can add any of the words, phrases, or sayings to this. You could put snow, you could put fall, you could put Eve. I mean, whatever you want to use. I decided to go with Noel for my project, and I'm using the poster letters from the Dollar Tree, so you don't need any specialized cutting machine to have all your letters. So I just put Noel on there, and the great thing about it is that these letters are removable. You can replace them out and switch out the lettering throughout the season if you like. Now after these cans were done, I felt like I needed something at the top, so what I did is I grabbed more of those Dollar Tree beads, and I decided to go ahead and trim out the top of each one of these cans with that beading. So I'm starting at the back near the seam, and again, I'm just going to start laying that beading around in 2 or 3 inch sections at a time. Just go ahead and making sure you put a significant amount of glue there to keep that beading in place, and lay those beads right in the glue and allow them to completely dry. And then once you get to the end, you can remove any excess beading on that strip so you can tie the ends together in the back for extra security. Trim off those little pieces, and now you have one completed can. Go ahead and repeat this for all of them until they are all completed as shown here. So now you can choose what you like to put in your cans. I decided to use some of the green bottle brush trees from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to stick one of them in each one of the cans. You can place anything that you love in these. You can use the winter snow trees, you could use greenery, you could use candy canes, whatever that you love you can put into these little cans. They're just so much fun to decorate. And here they are, you guys. I am so thrilled about the way that these turned out. Now I chose to add some of the bottle brush trees from the Dollar Tree, and they were the perfect size for these cans. And remember, the letters are totally interchangeable throughout the season and can be removed and replaced easily. Now this option with the trees is just one of the options, but you can change out the filler at any time. Now for another quick look, what I did is I placed some holly and poinsettias in the cans. I think they look so adorable this way too. Now this project is a set of framed ornament decor pieces. We're going to need some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to need 2 of these embellished snowflake ornaments that I picked up from Family Dollar for $1.25, and some foam board from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start off with my tumbling tower blocks. Now I'm going to use this to make a custom size frame. You can always use a pre-made frame from the Dollar Tree if you find one. So I'm going to grab that carpenter square that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to lay out 4 blocks in a row. We're going to be joining these all together, and we're going to make 4 of these 4-piece sets. Now I'm joining these end to end with my wood hot glue, but you could definitely use wood glue if you like, but I'm going to use my wood hot glue. So I'm going to join them end to end, and as you add each piece, just wipe away any hot glue that oozes out of the seams, and then just flip your block row as you go. I just find this prevents any kind of waviness in your set. So once you have one, go ahead and repeat it until you have 4 of these 4-piece sets. Now the next sets we're going to make are 3-piece sets. We're going to join these the same way we did for the 4-piece sets, and we're going to do 4 of these as well, and here they all are ready to go. So now we can make our frame. Grab one of your 4-piece sets, and we're going to make an L, adding the 3-piece set right on top. Now, just a hint, make sure you sandwich the 3-piece set in between the 4-piece set to make a frame that will definitely fit these ornaments. So we're going to add another 3-piece set on the other side to make a U. And then once that's joined, flip the whole thing over, and then we're going to add that last 4-piece set at the bottom to close in our frame. And here you go, give it a nice squeeze, and now we have one of our frames. And now just repeat this for your other set. And here are our 2 frames ready to go. So now that the frames are nice and so solid, we are going to paint these. So I wanted to paint these white, and I'm going to use my white chalk paint. Now I prefer to use chalk paint on this because the thickness of the paint does get into those creases and hides it better than acrylic or spray paint. So that's why I'm going with my chalk paint. Now when I add it, I always like to start just painting on the inside of the frame first, and then I'll move to the outside, and then finally the flat surface of the front of the frames. And I want to cover the entire thing in a couple of coats. Here's one, and just repeat it for the second one and allow them to completely dry. Now here are my 2 frames all nice and dry. So now we're going to grab that foam board. Now what we want to do with the foam board is we're going to take one of our frames, go ahead and lay it on top of the foam board and just mesh it onto that corner, and then trace out that shape. We're tracing the outside of the frame onto the foam board, and we need 2 of these square shapes. Then making sure you have your cutting mat underneath, go ahead and grab your ruler and your utility blade, and we are going to cut out both of those foam shapes. Now this will be the backing of our frame, so you just want to make sure you cut carefully and then remove that whole entire piece. Now once that whole entire piece is done, go ahead and cut it down the middle where you marked for each frame, and now you have your 2 backings to your frame. Now what I always like to do with these backings is to cut off 1/4 of an inch off the long side and 1/4 of an inch off the short side. This allows the frame to sit back from the edge of the frame so you don't see the edge of the foam board on the back. So I'm going to do this to both of my pieces, just trimming off 1/4 of an inch on 2 of the sides. Now here are our foam pieces ready to go, and what I did is I have some red and black buffalo check printout that I have. You can use scrapbook paper or wrapping paper, whatever you like, and I'm just going to trace on that shape of that foam board onto that buffalo check print that I have, and then just go in with a pair of scissors. We're going to do one of these for each one of those foam pieces, and here they are ready to go. Now to adhere these to the foam board, what I like to use is just some standard school glue stick. I use the Elmer's school glue stick, and I find that this doesn't leave any wrinkles or bubbling, so I love to use this when adhering my gift wrap and calendar sheets and things like that. So I'm just going to coat the foam board and then just gently press on that little checkered printout onto the sheet. And then look, you have here 2 covered foam board pieces with that buffalo check. So now we're going to add our frame. Flip your frame with the painted side down, and we're going to add on the buffalo check backing. So I'm going to take hot glue and run it around the back of the frame, and then carefully and gently place that foam board piece right on top with the buffalo check side facing down. Now once you add it on, here's what it looks like. Repeat that for the other one, and you have two really beautiful buffalo check frames. Now before we embellish these, I'm just going to go ahead and add a hanging loop just in case you wanted to hang these. I just took a piece of the Dollar Tree jute twine. I'm going to form it into a U shape. I'm going to glue those tails down, and then once you glue those tails down, I like to take a piece of some craft paper or some black foam, crafting foam, and put it on the ends just to cover it up. I just think that this gives the project a finished and professional look. So now what we can do is grab those beautiful ornaments, you guys. So I'm going to cut off the little jute twine hanger from them, and I'm going to situate it in the frame. Now I did find that that little loop at the top that held the little string was in the way, so I'm just going to go ahead and clip that off with my little wire cutters, and now I find that it fits perfectly inside of my frame. Now to adhere these, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some hot glue to the back and in the center. I'm just following the pattern of the little snowflake on the back, and then once you get a generous amount added to that, I'm just going to add it to the center of the frame. You want to make sure your bow is nice and upright on your ornament, and then just carefully press it into place, and do that for both pieces. And here you have it. You have two beautiful framed ornaments for your decor. Now I have placed these cute little framed ornaments on display, and I love how these turned out. Now the Family Dollar had so many cute ornaments this year for $1.25, and these were so gorgeous that I just had to get them. Now you definitely can use any ornaments that you love to make this project too. Let me know what you would love to place in these frames. Now this project is a wood beaded frame decor piece. Now we're going to need one of these red and black check gift bags from the Dollar Tree. And we're also going to need 4 of these 5-gallon wood stir sticks. Now I got these from Walmart for 94 cents. You can get them at Home Depot also for $1.48. We're also going to need some strand or loose beads of your choice to trim it out. And we're also going to need some foam board from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to start off working on our gift bag, and we're going to trim out the design. So I'm starting on the side seam just to cut it all the way down, and I want to go about 1 inch past the actual design, following the lines of the buffalo check pattern. This helps me keep the design all nice and even. Now for that top portion, I'm going to trim it out right at the level where it overlaps on the back. So I'm just kind of snipping it at the front where I want to cut it, and when I flip it over, it's even with that back overlap. So that's a good guide to trim out the top of your bag. And now you have this cutout design that you are ready to work with and frame. So now what we're going to do is grab your foam board, and we're going to place our cutout right on top, making sure there's about maybe 1/4 inch frame around it. So I'm going to take my pencil and add 1/4 inch to the inside corners as well as shown here. And that way your board will be bigger than your sign, and your frame will have something to adhere to. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my little sign piece to my foam board, and I'm just using a standard glue stick. This is just a regular school glue stick. I like using glue sticks because they don't wrinkle up any kind of paperwork. You could use Mod Podge, but just be careful because of the wrinkling. I find that the glue stick works great. There's no wrinkling or buckling in any kind of paper designs that I apply, so this is my go-to. And now I'm just going to take my utility blade and cut out the frame along the lines that we drew earlier. And now you have a beautifully framed decor piece. So I took 2 of those paint stir sticks. I cut 2 to 12 inches. And then I took the other 2 and I cut them at 14 3/4 inch. Now I have the two longer pieces here on the side, and what I'm going to do is sandwich in those 12-inch pieces between them, and this will form the perfect frame for your decor piece. So I'm just going to start adhering these together. Now I'm going to start with using the wood hot glue. Now this is only going to give me my temporary hold that I'm looking for until I permanently secure these, but this is a good way to hold it in place while you work with the project. So I am gluing those two ends together and then closing it in with that last 14 3/4 inch piece, and here is my completed frame. So now I'm taking my staple gun with my short staples in it, and I'm applying 2 staples at the seam at each corner. This just gives it just enough reinforcement to keep it all together, and this is just an easy way to bond those corners. Okay, so once that's done, I'm doing a fit check and everything looks good. So now we're going to take more of that beading. I got these from Family Dollar, but you can use any beading that you love. I'm going to run this bead strand down the center of each side. Now I'm using one of my little clippies here just to kind of mark the end of the beads for that first time I apply it. This is just a marker, and this is just to help me. So I'm taking some wood hot glue and I'm running it right down the center of that wood piece and sitting that first bead strand in place. Now press it into that wood hot glue, and you could even use your ruler to kind of help keep that bead strand as straight as possible, and this is what I did to mine to try to help it look really straight and even. So I'm going to remove my clippy, and I'm just going to keep working my way around the frame right down the center all the way around until we have our strand all adhered in place. So now that that glue has dried, we are going to paint our piece. Now I'm going to be using some white acrylic glue. You could use any glue that you like. Now I chose acrylic glue because I didn't want a really opaque coverage. I'm kind of just brushing this loosely onto the wood because I did want some of that wood to kind of shine through, but I'm just hitting all those little spots, working my way around the beads and around the frame, just getting it that nice rustic finish that doesn't look completely covered. Now here's my frame. It's all nice and painted. Now once that dries, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some of this melted chocolate color acrylic paint. This is what I'm going to dry brush on to mainly the bead portion. So I'm adding some paint to my brush and then getting most of that paint off the brush, and I'm just going to swipe it all along those beads. Now there's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm just adding it really randomly along the beads, and if you get too heavy-handed at some point, you could go back over it with the white paint and then blend it in as you like. So after it has sat to dry, here is my frame, and I'm going to sit it right back on top, and it looks perfect. Now to adhere these, you could use Velcro squares in the corners if you want this to be removable, but I wanted this to be a permanent holiday decor piece, so I'm adding a generous amount of hot glue into each corner and then carefully sitting that frame on top. Don't drop the frame down on it until you have it perfect. Trust me, you only want to do this once. So you just press that in place at each one of those corners, and once it's bonded, flip it over. We are going to reinforce those corners a little bit. Since this will be a permanent fixture, I'm going to add 1 staple into each one of the corners. And here's our beautifully framed sign. Now I did want to add some holiday accents. I'm adding more of these green picks that I got from Amazon. I'm going to kind of cross them in the corner as shown here, like an L shape, and trim off all of the excess stem. Now I love these corner accents. I just think they give most frames and decor pieces just a little bit of an upgrade. And so I cut one down. I'm going to add 1 to 1 corner, and then right on top of it, I'm adding that other cut piece to form that little L shape. Now I am using my wood hot glue on this too as well. I'm pressing it firmly in there, and this will hold it tightly in place. Now I did grab another bundle of those pine cones and berries. If you have loose ones, you could use those too, but we're going to use one of the pine cones and some of the berries in each corner as an accent. So I took one of the pine cones and I trimmed that little wire stem down, and also made sure the back of the pine cone is as flat as possible. Now I added a generous amount of that wood hot glue right there in the corner and just press it down into the corner. And then once that's bonded, I cut a couple pieces of these little berries, and I'm just going to hot glue one on either side of that little pine cone just to make a little corner accent. It's really cute. Now once that one is done, just repeat this for the top opposite corner of your sign. And here are both of the corners, all really cute with their holiday accent. Now, if you want this to be a hanging piece, it's really simple. I'm going to take a doubled piece of jute twine that has knots on each end, and I'm just going to hot glue each end on the back of my sign, stretching it as tight as possible. And then, of course, going in with those squares of craft paper with hot glue right on those end pieces and press that down. It gives it a little bit more reinforcement and also just finishes off the project so it looks really professional. And now this is all in place. It's ready to go. This is a lightweight project, so this will hold it with no problems. And here you have it, a gorgeous frame decor piece for the holidays. Now this project is a house sign with interchangeable wreath. Now we're going to start with one of these house signs from the Dollar Tree. These are a generous size to craft with. So I'm going to take that sign, go ahead and remove the tag, but leave the little loop on the top. Now I wanted to actually have my house white. Now you could start with the blank slate on the back, but I wanted to leave the back blank since it was nice and finished, and I'm just going to cover up the front. So I am again going to grab that white poster board, and what I'm going to do is I am going to cut a piece that would cover my entire house. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take my house and I'm going to kind of do some width measurements and height measurements, and then cut a piece out of that poster board that will cover the entire front of the house. So I'm going to lay it down face down on that poster board, and I'm going to go ahead and trace it out with my pencil. And then once it's traced out, we're going to go ahead and cut it out. Now I'm starting just cutting off the bottom edge of the house first and the sides first, and I'm checking as I go just to make sure I don't cut away too much and show any of that design underneath. So once I have it on there, I'm using my fingers to kind of press the seams of where that roof edge is to get it nice and snug in those edges, and doing some final touch up on the trim. And now this piece will perfectly fit in here, and you just have to hot glue it right in place. You just have to do that. It's really easy. Just hot glue that on place. Much cleaner than going through sanding off the glitter and painting. So for the chimney, I'm going to use some of this leftover faux brick that I got from the Cobblestone collection at Dollar Tree. I used this in last week's DIY, so I keep all of my scraps, and this was perfect for this project. So now I can highlight that chimney in actual brick. So I'm just trimming it down to fit into the areas there and fitting all those nooks and crannies in with that brick design. Now once you have your pieces trimmed down, you just got to hot glue them in place. Now it doesn't matter if they're bigger than the actual chimney. You actually want them to overlap, so at the end you can go in and trim them down to their actual size. So here are both of our pieces nice and hot glued together. Go ahead and grab your little cutting mat, and now we could take our utility blade and just trim it down to the actual size of the chimney. And here's our chimney all nice and trimmed in the brick. I love this. So now that our house is all ready, we can start working on our wreath for the front of the house. Now I'm going to use a couple of these picks. I grabbed these from Walmart for $1.28. I'm also going to use some of these mini pine picks from the Dollar Tree. These come 6 in a pack. They have glitter and they have snow, and I have the snow ones here. Now keep in mind, these do kind of shed pretty bad, so you might want to shake them off a little bit before you started working, but I just jumped right into it. What I'm going to do with these picks is I'm going to start curving them around to form a wreath shape. Now I'm only going to use 3 of these because this will just be the base form of my wreath. Now once you have your 3 pieces all curved, twist them all together and bond them all together to form kind of a wreath shape as shown here. Now this is only the base of our wreath. Now the fullness and the glam is going to come from these picks here with these holly, berry, and pine cone bundles here. So I'm just going to curve each one of these around into like a letter C shape and then bond those together as well. You just want to make sure that the greenery and the pine cones are evenly distributed. And I'm going to sit this right on top of my pine pieces that I have from Dollar Tree. So we're going to bond these together, not with glue. We're going to use some zip ties from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just zip tying those pine pieces from Dollar Tree to the little Walmart pieces and making sure that they are secured together. I only needed a couple of these and then trim off all of the tails of the zip ties. Now once that's done, just start tucking and arranging all of your berries and leaves to form the perfect wreath shape that you are happy with for your project. So we're going to sit it on the house and we're going to see how it looks. You could still do more arranging, but to attach it to the house, we are going to use one of these utility peel and stick hooks from the Dollar Tree. Now these come in wood grain, white, silver, clear. You could choose any one you have. I only had silver on hand right now, but I'm just going to use this silver one right at the top center of the house, and you can hook that wreath right on front there. Just go ahead and tuck those leaves in and arrange that wreath how you want to, and this is what it looks like. I think that is so cute on the house. Now the bottom looked kind of naked, so I wanted to put something on there. I had some of this metallic ribbon left over. This is from the Dollar Tree. The metal ribbon came and went so quickly at the Dollar Tree. I did have a few scraps left. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to add a few dots of hot glue along the edge of that metal trim and apply it along the bottom of the house. I think it just gives it that complete look at the bottom. I love working with this. Now the top looked kind of bare too, so what I did is I grabbed this 2-pack of silver bells. You guys, I love these that these come in a 2-pack. These are actually a design from last year, but they are back this year at the Dollar Tree. You don't even have to glue these. They have a loop at the top that perfectly fits over the top of the house. And look, you guys, it completes the look. You have the bells at the top with your wreath. So adorable. I love this. And check it out, you guys. Here is my wreath house on display. Now, I really love that you can make a few simple updates to these Dollar Tree signs and they end up looking so elegant. And you can hook ornaments, mini wreaths, or anything you love to the hook as well. Now, I really do hope that you give this easy project a try. I really hope that you all are enjoying these crafts so far, but I wanted to pop in really quick and let you all know that you could follow me on all of these platforms as CraftDee. So now let's jump right into that next DIY. This project is a set of candle decor holders. Now we're going to need 2 of these fall metal candle holders from the Dollar Tree. Now what we're going to do with these holders is first I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the stickers and labels from the bottom, make sure they are nice and clean, and then take them out to give them a couple coats of this white satin, bright white spray paint by Krylon. Now here they are, all nice and painted and dry, and now we can start to decorate them. So what I have is some of these wired berry stems. You can get these from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is I am going to decorate around the bottom of these. Now I'm not going to glue them, I'm just kind of intertwining that wire around the pieces. And I'm going to wrap each piece around 2 or 3 times and then secure it in place with the wire, and that'll trim out the bottom. Just repeat this for the other one until both of those are done. And what I wanted to do is go ahead and grab some flocked trees that I got from the Dollar Tree, some fairy lights from the Dollar Tree, and I made a couple of little stands out of tumbling tower blocks that I keep on hand for all of my projects. So what I'm going to do is unwind those fairy lights, and what I want to do is start winding it around the flocked trees. So I'm just going to wind it around 2 or 3 times around the flocked trees just to kind of distribute those lights all through there. You only want to use about half of the lighting strip. Now for the remainder of the lighting strip, you're going to take the little supporting box that your tree will be sitting on, and I'm just going to wrap that around. Now I made this box really simple. It's only 12 blocks, 3 on each side. So it's really simple. It's just a little supportive box. So once you wrap your lights around the box, place the little power box in the back where you can't see it, and sit your tree on top of the supporting box, and now you have a lighted tree stand. I think that is so gorgeous if you do that with this project. Now there is another way you could decorate these as well. I saw these red candles at the Dollar Tree. These are LED candles. I've never seen them in red, so I saw those. I grabbed some greenery from the Dollar Tree, and you could make a candle stand as well. So what I did is I put both of these ideas together, and here is the trees. Oh my gosh, I love how these trees turned out. Now, when you put these all together, these lighted trees look so warm, and I love the glow of these. These flock trees are so awesome. I'm so glad I found a project to create with them, and adding the lights to the base really just sets it off and would look amazing with the lights dimmed. Now, I did mention you could use candles as well, and here it is all put together. Now I'm so glad that I did grab those holiday red candles and some berry greenery from the Dollar Tree, and I love how it pops against this little white holder. Now I hope that you give these easy DIYs a try. This project is a hobnail style holiday vase set. We're going to need 2 of these raised dot glasses from the Dollar Tree. Now what I'm going to do with my glasses is I'm going to go ahead and remove the stickers. You want to make sure that they are nice and clean. And then I'm going to take it out and give it a couple of coats of my Krylon Satin Bright White spray paint. Now here are the vases all painted, you guys. Don't these look gorgeous? I thought about distressing these, but I think these look so gorgeous in solid white, so I left them that way for my project. So I have some bulb, pine cone, and greenery bundles here that I glued to a piece of burlap ribbon. Just use some Dollar Tree bulbs, greenery, and pine cones. You could put this together so really quick, and I just had these sitting to the side. So I'm tying this around the center of my vase as an accent. I love how this looks. We're going to do this for both of those vases. Here they are with that attached. Now I think that these look gorgeous just like this. You don't really need to do much more with them, but I decided to add some filler. You can add any filler that you want to. I have some berry bundles from the Dollar Tree, and I have some pine greenery that I had spray painted to look like it had a little frost on it. So you can add those in combination in your vase. So what I did is I took a bunch of that greenery and I stuck it in the vase, and then what I did is I cut all my berries off the stem and I put them in the vase and just shuffled them around. I love the accent with the snowy pine and the berries. I think that looks gorgeous, and here are what they both look like, you guys. And there you have it, 2 simple and sweet vases to grace your decor. Now this project is a triple tree decor display. Now we're going to need 3 of these cones, and I got these for 50 cents for all 3 from the thrift store, but these are also sold at the Dollar Tree. And then we're going to need an assortment of ribbon of choice, and these are from Walmart and Dollar Tree. And I'm also going to be using some ivory chunky yarn that I picked up for $1 at the thrift store. And we're going to need some branch stems from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start off with my cones. I'm going ahead and removing those from the package. We're going to be using these for all of our trees in our display. Now our first one we're going to be using some ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and grab that yarn, set that to the side. But the first one we're going to be using this buffalo trick ribbon. Now I picked up this large 45-foot roll from the plus section at Dollar Tree. You can get smaller rolls, I think at about 12 feet from the regular section of Dollar Tree, if you would like to get that instead. So I'm taking a piece and I'm cutting a little circle out of it just to cover up the top of my cone. So this will actually leave it covered and it won't be exposed once I start wrapping the ribbon around. So I'm hot gluing that right at the top and then adding some glue around that edge and just carefully placing it down and around the top, laying it down the best that I can. So once that top is covered, then I'm going to go around with another little piece that I'm going to cut just to secure all of those loose edges that we just wrapped around the top, and then hot glue those in place as well. Now once I do that, I can start wrapping my ribbon around. So I fold the edge first and then I'm going to start wrapping that around. Secure the edge and then start wrapping it. Now I wanted my ribbon to kind of puff out like this is a tiered cake. So if you start wrapping it around, it'll naturally start to puff out. But then I'm kind of enhancing that to look like a tiered cake because I wanted that kind of design in this tree. So once you get to the bottom, just secure the bottom of that tree. Make sure your layers are nice and puffed out the way you want to, and then just trim down the bottom evenly all the way around, just enough so you'll be able to fold it in and hot glue it to the bottom of that cone. You want to do this all the way around the bottom. Now once that's all the way around the bottom, here is what the tree would look like. I'm loving these puffy little tiers. It's perfect, and this is a great accent to one of my little trees. So now we could just sit that one to the side and we're going to start working on our next one. So the next one, I wanted to go ahead and use some of this chunky chenille type yarn. Now I believe you could get this from Walmart too, but I did find it for $1 at my thrift store. So I'm going to start by wrapping around that end over the top of the tree or the little cone as shown here. Then I'm going to start wrapping it around. This way the top will be covered. Now as you wrap it around, you kind of want to start working around at an angle so it'll have that little diagonal look on the tree. Just go ahead and wrap it around really even, making sure not too tight, but just tight enough so it won't be unraveling. Now once you get to the bottom, you definitely want to go around the bottom edge right underneath the bottom of the cone, just so the foam won't be showing, and then cut that off and then secure that in place. And here is our little chenille tree. I love this one. Now for the third cone, we're going to be using this wide ribbon. This is a wide ribbon. It's not wired, so it won't be as puffy as the first ribbon, but this is a beautiful wide ribbon. I believe this is about 3 inches wide, and I got this ribbon on clearance from Walmart last year. So I just cut off a long strip, and since it is so wide, what I'm going to do is something a little different. I'm going to cut the entire strip in half. Now once you cut the entire strip in half, I'm going to start pulling away 4 or 5 of those strings to give one of the edges that nice cute frayed look. So I thought this would be a really cute accent for this one, so we're going to use this accent in this tree. So I cut a little piece off, of course, to go ahead and just cover the top first. Make sure that's all nice and hot glued down into place. And then I'm going to take my strand and I'm going to wrap it around one time and then hot glue that end in place. And once that's hot glued and secured, we can go ahead and clip that off as well. So now that our top is secured, we can start wrapping around the tree. Now we have to start at the bottom so we don't cover our fringed edges. So I'm just going to start by adding a little hot glue at the bottom and making sure I wrap that around nice and neat around the bottom. Now, once you start wrapping it around and meeting up at the other end, you want to kind of go up at an angle. And if it does start to puff out just a little bit, what I like to do is just kind of pinch it in and keep on wrapping. Now, for that first one, once it's done, you want to go ahead and glue the edge down, pull the fringes off the second one, glue it in place, and then just continue wrapping this around the tree. I am loving how this one looks, and a little frayed edge gives it that little farmhouse country type look. Really really warm and cozy. I really love how this is turning out. So you see me here, I'm kind of pinching that extra down and tucking it in place as I go. And then at the top, fold that raw edge under and then hot glue that right into place. Now once that's all tucked in and glued into place, you can go ahead and remove any loose strings that you may have dangling down. You can fluff up those little fringes with your hand just by rubbing your hand across it. It kind of gets those fringes nice and loose and flowy, so you'll be able to see and enjoy them in your project. So now we have all 3 trees done for our project. Now for the bottom, we're going to use these wood stems from the Dollar Tree. Now I sorted through the package to find 3 pretty even pieces, so I was lucky with that. And then you just want to glue one to the very bottom of each one of the trees. And here are all 3 of my trees with their little trunks in place. Now what I also decided to do is take one of these wood slice planks that I got from the Dollar Tree. You may have seen this in my last Dollar Tree haul. I love these things. I thought this would be the perfect rustic accent to this project. So what I needed to do though was to make the middle tree taller. So what I'm doing is taking another one of those wood slices and joining it to the one that's currently there. I wanted this tree to stand just a little bit higher. Now there is a little seam there, but what I did is peel some of the bark off of another piece, and I'm going to hot glue that right over the seam. That way it blends in and looks like one continuous piece. And here it is. This is it all glued together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hot glue this tree right in the center of my wood slice plank. And then we're going to glue each of the other trees at the very end of the plank on either side. And here are all 3 of my trees all joined to that beautiful wood plank. Now I did want to accent my little chenille tree just a little bit more. So what I'm doing is taking some of those little red berries from a bundle that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to add each one into that little chenille tree. I'm just randomly placing it all over there. There's no rhyme or reason, and I'm just kind of using, I couldn't find my tweezers, so I'm using my little needle nose pliers to kind of hold them so I don't continue to burn my fingers with hot glue as I add them. And here is what it looks like, really cute. So as a final touch to this, what I did is took a couple of these pine picks that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm kind of winding them together with the little stems. I'm kind of wiring them together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this, just simply place it at the bottom of that wood plank along the bottom. And I did add a berry bundle to the middle. And here it is. We have our 3 beautiful and crafty trees ready to display. Now I really love the traditional reds with a touch of rustic in this creation, and coupled with the wood, they have a really warm and cozy look. Then I just simply added a bit of pine and some berries to the bottom, and you have a beautiful display. Now I really do hope that you give this project a try. This project is a wood slice decor piece. We're going to need 2 of these oval wood slices from the Dollar Tree and these metal 3-pack of holiday words from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to take our wood slices, remove any labels that are on them, and we're also going to be removing that jute twine hanger at the top. We're not going to be using that for the project, and this is easily removable with a pair of pliers. So now that that's done, we're just going to paint these because I want to be adding my words on top. So I decided to go in with some black acrylic paint. Now, when I do paint these, I do want to leave some of that natural wood showing. So I'm going to start by doing the outside edge. And what I'm going to do is go in 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch away from the natural bark of the wood. And I want to have that natural wood showing and the bark. And I'm going to do this all the way around. Now, once you have your outline done, then then I like to go in and fill in the center. I just find that going in these steps actually helps prevent any kind of mistakes. So here it is, all nice and painted and covered and ready to go. And repeat this for your second piece. Now just let those sit to dry. Now here they are, they're all nice and dry and ready to embellish. I'm gonna go ahead and grab those metal words, those holiday words. They have believe, they have peace, and they have joy. So what I decided to do with mine is just use peace and joy. They seem to fit on there perfectly. Now the believe was much too long, so I put that to the side for a different project. So I will be adding these two metal words to my wood slices. So to add them, really simple, just add a dot of hot glue and a couple of places on the back of that metal piece and just center it on the plank. You just want to do this for both of those words. And once they're nice and adhered, this is what they'll look like. Now I did want to embellish these just a little bit. So I had some little holiday leaves and some bundles of little berries. These are both clipped from Dollar Tree bundles. So I'm just going to go ahead and add 3 of the leaves together and make them a little cluster. Once those are all hot glued and stacked on top of each other, I'm going to add just a clipping of those little berries right to the center. And now you have your little cluster. So once they're done, we can add them to our piece. So I wanted to add 1 cluster on my joy sign just to the left of joy. And then I'm going to add 1 right to the top of my piece. You can place them wherever you like. This is just where I decided to place my pieces. So my camera did shut off when I did this, but I'm going to explain what I did. So I have some of this ribbon. This is the red and black checkered ribbon. This is from the Dollar Tree. And I looped it. I flipped the pieces over and looped them around the back and ran a line of hot glue along the back of the wood pieces and just laid the ribbon in place. I did use the grid mat to make sure everything was nice and even, but this is what it looks like when you glue the ribbon to the back for a hanger. Now, once that glue is all nice and dry, I also thought I would love to put a little bow at the very top to finish it off. So I'm going to take that ribbon again and I'm going to make one of these easy finger bows. I'm just going to slip about 5 inches of that ribbon to the back of my hand between my fingers and then wrap it around my thumb and my pointing finger, my thumb and a pointing finger until I have 4 loops on each one of those fingers. And then just cut a really long tail when you're done. Now you take that long tail, wrap it over the top of all of those loops you just made and pull it through. Then take that tail and wrap it through the loop that you just made and pull it tight. You want to grab the other string or other piece from the other finger, pull them both tight, and then slide the bow off your fingers. You guys, this is probably one of the easiest bows that I make. It's really, really cute. And now you have a loopy bow with 4 little loops on each side. So once your bow is made, you want to go ahead and take those tails. I'm just going to trim them down and then I'm going to give them an easy dovetail type of finish. And there you go. You have a cute little bow to add to your hang string. So I wanted to add this to the very top in the center. Now, since your hang string can shift, I did not want to hot glue it to the string. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to just use a visual to find out exactly where the center is, and I'm not going to permanently adhere it, so you can adjust it on down the line. Now once you figure out where the center is, I'm taking a straight pin and just sticking it in and attaching that way. You can also use a small safety pin if you like. I think this is perfect because it allows your little bow to be removable and adjustable. So here it is, all ready to go to hang. And you guys, that is it to make this really sweet wood decor piece. Now, these wood slices from the Dollar Tree were such a great find, and I'm so glad that I found a creative way to use them for the holidays. Now, you can also paint your words or use a cutting machine too if you like. I really do hope that you give this really easy project a try. Now this project is a brick trim vase decor piece. Now we're going to need 2 of these Live, Laugh, Love vases from the Dollar Tree I plan to repurpose. And I'm also going to need some of this faux brick leather material from the Cobblestone collection from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start off with those vases, make sure they're really nice and clean. And then what I'm going to do is take them out and give them a couple of coats of my Zinsser primer, and then follow up with my final coat of white spray paint. Now here they are, they've set out and they're nice and dry now. So now you could start embellishing those vases. So this is where that faux brick pattern comes in for the Cobblestone collection. This was new this year. I've never seen this before, but I just had to incorporate this into one of my projects. So this strip, when unfolded, is about 12 inches long. So it doesn't give you much to work with, but it's just enough for this project. So what I decided to do is to fold it in half along one of the natural creases between the brick in this pattern. And once you decide where you need to start cutting, you just want to cut very carefully along that divide between the 2 pieces. Now once you have your 2 pieces, what you're going to do is you're going to trim out the bottom edge of the vase. So once you get it lined up with the bottom, go ahead and secure one end of it to the bottom edge as shown here, and then start wrapping it around. Now once you wrap it around and that other end meets where you started, you want to kind of just snip it with your scissors and then cut the entire piece along that snipped line. Now here's what it looks like, and now just hot glue that strip in place on the bottom, and here is what the completed piece will look like with that brick adhered along the bottom. Now we're going to repeat this for the other one, and now you have 2 brick trimmed vases. So I wanted to add a little wintry accent to these. So what I am going to do is take some of my chalk paint, and I want to add some accent to the bottom that looks like small snowdrifts. Now I'm doing this with white chalk paint because it's really thick. You can definitely use your Mod Podge and fake snow, whatever you choose to do. I just thought this was a very easy way to add your snowy accent, and it turned out exactly like I envisioned it. So that was a plus. Now once you do this for both pieces, this is what it looks like, you guys. Very wintry. I love how it looks like, what it looks like against that brick. So now that these are nice and dry, we are going to just add some accents to the vases. Now I have these rose bundles from Walmart. These were only 97 cents. And then I have a couple of bundles of this eucalyptus from Dollar Tree. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine one of each into one little bouquet, fold up those ends and stick those inside the vase. I love these color combinations for the holiday. They look so very cute. I love how they turned out in the end. So now I'm just going to add the other rose bundle together and then add that to the vase. And then what I decided to do is tie it off with a checkered ribbon. I think this kind of pulls everything together, so I decided to add that bow to the second one as well. And now you have a complete set of winter snowdrift vases that will look so cute in your winter and holiday decor. And here you have it, 2 super cute vases for the winter holidays. Now I really do love this beautiful combination of holiday and rose, and the ribbon was the perfect final touch. Now I do have to say the brick accent is the star of the show in these pieces. Now all of these DIYs were so much fun to create today, and I hope that I inspired you to get creative. Now I really do love them all, but let me know in the comments which one was your favorite today. Listen, I hope that you all were inspired by these creations today and will give these projects a try. If you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now also be sure to subscribe by clicking on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.